On this week's episode, Mulan is coming to Disney. On this week's episode, Mulan is coming to Disney Plus a lot sooner than expected. Is it time to take flight with Microsoft? And are we into getting raised by wolves? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We really want to thank you so much for listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, send us Facebook stars, whatever you want to do to help support us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, we truly appreciate it. Check out our streaming stuff that we do as far as our shows and also some gaming action. I'm going to try and get some more video game action from Sisters Royale up here in the coming days. Plus, also, I know Josh has to get some streaming up for Crosscodes. Hint, 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 hint. So I know he will be doing that as well at some point in time in the near future. Plus, there's so much to talk about and what we do here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. The latest news and trends in pop culture we cover every single day on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, where hopefully you're watching this live. Plus, our tabletop RPGs. We're going to go ahead and start cutting episodes for our audio podcast, but if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing as far as Star Wars Mercenaries or The Lost Mind of Fendiva, you can go ahead and check us out each and every week right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He's our own simulated pilot for Pop Culture Cosmos. You gotta go ahead and check out what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. His awesome shows, Topicocalypse and the Super BS Gamescast, and also his book, which you need to get today, which he just reran an ad for, called Congratulations, You Suck, which is now available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. And, of course, the Kindle and Nook as well. It is my good friend. Well, he wants to be known today as J. Josh Josherson. I know him as Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
So not only am I a simulated pilot, but I'm also a simulated co-host programmed by Gerald Glassford. So I'm not even real. You guys are just listening to a simulation right now. So basically, Gerald's talking to himself.
Let me send out some more code. I'm going to type it in right now. Uh-oh. So let me just go ahead and type in that right now so everybody's seeing that right now. That was not the thing to do, but there you go. All right. Because the whole screen went dark.
Yeah. The code was for eating sweet tarts. So, well,
oh, there you go. Okay. The code was for, but the screen went orange on me for a second there. But it is right now going to be another great episode we have for you indeed, because we've got a lot to talk about when it concerns the world of pop culture. Something really magical is going to happen at Disney, but at a price. So we'll talk about that coming up here in a second for Disney Plus and what they're doing with their upcoming or possible upcoming slate of films. Plus, we're going to be talking about the latest venture for Ridley Scott on HBO Max, which is coming out September 3rd, and to see if Josh is interested in being raised by wolves. Plus, we're going to be talking a little bit about Marvel's Avengers, the game, not the movie this time, the game, coming out from Square Enix in September. The beta is still currently available, so we're going to share some thoughts on that. And also, Josh has some thoughts. I know he's been saying on social media, so I know he has some thoughts on some console exclusivity for one brand over the other. So we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to recognize Microsoft's Flight Simulator because around the corner on August 18th is Microsoft's latest venture into the world of flight with Flight Simulator. We're going to talk about the unusual amount of discs that you'll need if you want to go ahead and play it straight from disc, and exactly what is the draw for the game as well. Plus, Jessica Boggs is going to be here for her August TV update. good to have her back. She's been gone a little, well, she's been gone too long, actually. She's been gone a little while, but she's back and back strong for part 1 of her August TV update. And Josh, we have hyped it up all week on our social media. The battle is now laid out for us. The battle of the burgers. Because I recently went to Texas, which you're in that realm right now. And I recently went to Texas and had Whataburger. And as someone who has lived on the west coast of the United States for quite some time, I've been quite familiarized with the wonders of In-N-Out. So we'll talk at the end of the show, on the back end, about which is better, In-N-Out or Whataburger. All right, my friend, there's much to talk about on today's show. And I truly want to thank everybody for joining us. First off is that big announcement that was made by Disney Plus, and this could change the way, and Josh foresaw this, by the way. Josh looked in the mirror. Okay, you need to pat yourself on the back, young man, because I'll tell you what, you saw this kind of already, how it was going to be laid out, because Mulan is coming to Disney Plus while simultaneously being released in markets around the world that are not accessible for Disney Plus, even though it just announced it had over 60 million viewers. Mulan, for a price of $30, will be available to you in the month of September. So this is a major announcement, my friend. Disney could not wait any longer to bring this out. And for viewers, it's great news because they probably, if it's a family of 4, will be saving money on it. So it's a great saving idea for them. They will go ahead, from what I'm able to understand, they will go ahead and purchase it for $30 and be able to continue to watch it for as long as they have Disney Plus service. So I want to hear your thoughts on Mulan going over to Disney Plus day 1, $30, and if this will be the way that they might go ahead and, at least for the foreseeable future, i.e. Black Widow, i.e. the Eternals, i.e. all the other stuff that they're coming out, Jungle Cruise, etc., as long as the movie market here in the United States and elsewhere is really damaged by the coronavirus, if this is something that could be the future, well, could be a reality future for not only them, but other streaming outlets as well.
Wait, so you get to keep it once you pay the $30?
Yeah, it's not just a rental.
Part of your...
As long as you have it on Disney Plus, as long as you have an active account. From what I'm able to understand, for $30, you'll be able to keep it. So if it's going to be... well, I will tell you this. If it changes and it is clarified 100% in an opposite direction, I will update people on the Monday show. So there you go. Cover my bases.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you get to keep it. I would be more on board for that. Like if it was, pay $30 for a rental, because there's the same thing like on Prime, right? When you rented Trolls or Scoob or Bloodshot or whatever it was, you got to keep the movie. You just paid the $20 to watch it. So I would hope that you get to watch it for as long as you want. And honestly, I think that this is a good idea. I thought I did kind of call it. I said they're going to have no choice eventually, but they haven't specified now if that's going to be the case with Black Widow or if it's the case with any of the other Marvel films coming up. I know with Mulan, I think $30 is, I don't know about you, but I feel like $30 is a good price point because you think about it, you have a family of 3, it pays for itself. You have a family of 4, then like it's quite the bargain. So I know Disney has stuff set up to where like you can't record stuff off Disney Plus. So I mean that'll work in their favor. They don't have to worry about pirating. This feels like a good strategy to me. I don't see how Disney could lose if they're putting it on Disney Plus here and then opening it in theaters around the world, outside the US market. Like I don't see how this could go wrong. What are your thoughts though?
Well, for me, I am going to say that I think it's inevitable that it was going to go to this matter because we're seeing with the deal that we talked about last week between, AMC Theaters and also I think it was Universal in regards to theirs, where it automatically go ahead and be on a streaming platform after 17 days, that it was going to get even further into it because there is no market right now in the United States, or virtually none, unless you're willing to go to a drive-through, because or drive-in movie theater, excuse me, a drive-in movie theater. So if that's the case, you got to go ahead and generate some revenue. But Mulan is set to lose about $1 billion, I think, overall in regards to this, because you cannot have it available on theaters in a great many markets, not just the United States, but beyond. And because of that, it's going to be hurt seriously. But you got to do what you can to recoup some of the money. You can't just keep delaying these movies continuously, and pushing them back and pushing them back and pushing them back and pushing them back, because you don't know when the market's going to be able to recover. And Disney has to recoup some money now in order to go ahead and appease shareholders. And just, I can't believe I'm saying this, just for Disney to stay afloat, because their obviously their parks are doing not anywhere near the numbers that they would normally doing, the ones that are open. Disney Plus did get some great news that they're now above 60 million viewers, which for, as you and I know, a streaming outlet that's not been even around even a year, that's a great number, that they've grown so much so fast. But they now have to do things to generate revenue. And unfortunately, Mulan is going to be sent out to do that. And it's a great win for people out there who want to go ahead and get the family around for $30. I think that is something that people are going to go ahead and enjoy. I know Nathan Laws of the 42 Cast had some issues with the way it was worded as far as journalists are concerned, and the fact that they just put Mulan's coming out in September and didn't put Mulan for $30 is coming out in September. I understand that you actually had to read the article to go ahead and do that and find that out. But hey, this is the way that we're going to go ahead in the future, and this is going to be the way that possibly some of these big high-profile releases, like we're seeing later this month with Bill and Ted 3, that's coming straight to VOD. They just said, forget it. We're just going to go ahead and put it on VOD. Tenet, they're trying to go ahead and do something where it's going to be put around the world internationally, and then they're going to put it sometime, hopefully either simultaneously or somewhere soon here in the United States on VOD. I mean, unfortunately, these movie companies can only push back these movies so far, and we're seeing that effect right now. But it is going to be for these movies overall. It's great benefit for us that can go ahead. Again, if you have a family of 4, you save money. But overall for these movies, it's a big loss, because they'll never recoup the money that they would have made had it been a normal environment.
Yeah. Okay. So I know we addressed this a couple of weeks ago, right? When we were talking about the whole thing with like Universal and AMC and Edwards and stuff like that, like the whole streaming versus theaters waiting for movies to open. So like I said, I don't know how long Disney would have been able to sit on that movie. Obviously it cost a butt ton of money to make, but I don't think that, and you're saying, well, they could hang on to it for like a year or two, and yeah, they could have, but like it's still,
well, they have to earn money as they have to generate revenue, right, as a company with something.
Yeah.
And if they're not, if their Disney parks are for the most part closed or at low capacity or limited capacity, and you only have Disney Plus as your main source of revenue right now, and all the other Disney stuff that's related to it is hampered, your Disney retail stores, you think about it, the only thing that's really running right now at full capacity is Disney Plus and anything Disney Online.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like, they might be losing money, but like they could only sit on something like that for so long. Like, they have to earn, they have to report quarterly profits. And, they have so many other avenues of making money and ways to make money off of something like Mulan. It makes sense that they would, I feel like it's a very strong move on their part to do something like this, and they're still releasing it in theaters, in other markets. But I think that $30 is a good price point, especially with as many people that have Disney Plus, and you're hoping that they're going to pay that $30. People who are planning on taking their kids to theaters to see this film, like that, it makes sense. And like they're probably not going to make every cent they made back, but I think
not even close.
Not even close. But I think they're going to make enough to justify this, and then they're going to make enough to learn like how to for future movies, I don't know how close Jungle Cruise is to being done filming, but for future movies, future productions, like how to make it budget friendly, because obviously, like the budgets are going to have to change on some of these movies if they're going to go right to a streaming format. And
Exactly.
that being said, like Disney, this was a good move for them, because if you look, their stocks raised 8 to 10% after they announced that Mulan was heading to Disney Plus. So I mean, this is obviously something that investors are interested in as well. So I mean, who knows, man? Like it could end up, yeah, they're not going to make all their money off of it, but it's going to be a good learning experience, and it could very well change the way that Disney does movies for the foreseeable future.
And that's the thing. It could also be something that could get all of these streaming entities really invested in doing and making it a major part of their portfolio. But the only thing is, again, it comes down to, if you do that, the budgets have to be smaller. So your overall product might not be as good as it once could have been, because if you send it straight to streaming, these movies, as much as we like to say that Netflix likes to throw out the money and $200 million here, $200 million, $300 million there, you can only spend so much, as far as if you're Disney, if you're HBO Max, if you're Universal, if you're CBS All Access, Viacom, whatnot, and do that because you are expecting at least X amount of dollars for it to be on the movie screens. And if there's no movie screens to put it on, you're losing that chunk of change. You're getting some of it back because people will be interested in buying it, but you'll never gain the amount back anywhere near what you could have done had it been a straight movie release and a lesser amount of people buying it once it gets to streaming and VOD.
Well, and that's that's something else to look at too, is that we're talking about Netflix, right? And how they put things out. I think Netflix and HBO, they put these things out that I would say are even more breathtaking and fantastic than most Disney movies. I think what the big price tag that comes with Disney movies is paying these actors that take away, like look at Robert Downey Jr. I'm sure they paid Beyonce a whole boat of money to be in The Lion King, to play Nala. Like, just look at all that. Like,
or Black is King, the recent thing that she just put out there, which is truly a great watch. The film that she put out there, Black is King, on Disney Plus. I give it a high recommendation.
I haven't seen that, but yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like, not to say that they shouldn't still be in these movies, but I mean, like these highly paid actors, it's going to come to this turning point where they're going to have to decide, like, do I
Hamilton
want to take a do I mean
they paid they had to pay Lin-Manuel a lot of money to get that on there, to be, well, because remember, that was supposed to be a film in the first place as well on the movie screens.
Yeah, so I mean, but a lot of the budget for these big movies go to these actors. So you look at something like Stranger Things, something like His Dark Material, something like Westworld and Game of Thrones. Like these shows all have giant set pieces, and they're beautiful, and the special effects look so cool. But the only thing that's missing from them are the big named actors, and that's why they can make something so cool on such a small budget. So it's doable, but I mean, I think Disney's going to have to really look at their finances, and I honestly think it starts with some of the paychecks a lot of these actors make.
And but you'll see what they're doing on Netflix. Like, for instance, Chris Hemsworth has his first big hit that's not a Marvel movie with Extraction, which has now done over 100 million views on Netflix. So that's the thing, that if he wants to go ahead and continue to do great projects like the Hulk Hogan project or whatever else he's got on his plate upcoming in the near future, he's still going to command that type of big money, because he has proof now that 100 million people want to go ahead and see what he's doing if given the right platform and right opportunity, which he finally has.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where obviously, like, the people doing the marketing and the budget and the producers are going to have to really sit down and examine things. But Chris Hemsworth, from what I understand, he was he was in like the middle ranked of people paid for the Marvel films. So I mean, he's not Robert Downey Jr. by any means, but yeah, I mean, I feel like there are this is also going to be a good opportunity for people who are not as well known. You know, I look at what's his name, the guy from
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, like he's been in a lot of, he's popping up in a lot of things now, and you know, he's just doing what he loves. You know, I don't imagine that he's, you know, getting paid millions and millions of dollars for it. He's just he's talent that is now recognized and is probably a little more affordable. I'd like to see him in more movies, and he's probably a little more affordable than someone like Beyonce or Robert Downey Jr. or you know, I don't know who else would be on that list, but yeah.
I know Hamilton still cost Disney a nice chunk of change, because remember, that was going to be shown on theaters first before heading to Disney Plus. And they did pay Lin-Manuel Miranda a heavy chunk of change for that, and possibly even a theatrical future for that film if it's made into a motion picture film as well. So a lot of things did you think about when Mulan, setting now another precedent for this environment, heading in a lot of markets, not all markets, because in some markets where theaters are available, it's going to go and head there first. But where theaters are not available, like here in the United States, it is going and heading to Disney Plus for a $30 price tag. And right now, the information that we're getting is that it is going to be something that you can go ahead and keep once you pay the $30, and it's going to be on there as long as you have the subscription. If you don't have the subscription, or you let it cancel, or you let it run out, it's gone. You can't have Mulan. But if I hear otherwise, or if I read otherwise, if I see otherwise, I will let you know on the Monday show. But I believe that from what reports I'm seeing out there, that's the case. I wish they had a D23 type setup where they could make this type of official announcement so it would have been more clear instead of putting it out in general press release, because it doesn't always that clear when they do things like that. But right now, it looks like Mulan is heading to Disney Plus, and I know it's made a lot of people very happy. What are your thoughts out there on Mulan heading to Disney Plus for $30? I know some people are kind of upset about it, but other people are very happy they'll get the chance to see Mulan sometime in the near future on Disney Plus. Share your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also follow Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Want to give a big shout out to Nancy Weems, who's watching us, plus also as well Troy Brewer from the Discover Community Network. Appreciate all the input that you've given us over the course of the week, your thoughts. Love to get you on the show, my friend. So let me know. Give us a shout out here at the Pop Culture Cosmos when you can come on the show. Plus also everybody out there, if you have a question, send it to us, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, at popculturecosmo on Twitter, or anytime you get a chance, check out what we're doing on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, where we continuously provide you with the latest updates on the news and trends in pop culture. Like this one, my friend. Did you get a chance to see the latest trailer for the upcoming HBO Max series, Raised by Wolves, headed by a favorite for you and I, Ridley Scott?
No, I honestly did not even know this was a thing until yesterday when you sent me the show notes. So, I mean, I just looked it up, and I do want to watch this trailer at some point today. So, it's the premise is incredibly interesting. Like, what happens if if mankind is sent to a new planet? It's the most Ridley Scott film that Ridley Scott could do. You know, it's kind of like David from Prometheus shepherding these people to a new planet, you know, except in this one, it's these androids have been put in charge of raising these humans. And I don't know, man, just the thought of that gives me chills. I just hope that we don't get, 5 or 6 episodes into it, and then he ends up throwing a xenomorph in there, and then all hell breaks loose. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. I just Ridley Scott after Alien Covenant kind of let me down a little bit.
Well, Ridley Scott is in his 80s now, so he is going to have to, just by the sheer nature of time, slowing down here as far as what he can do, he can produce. You and I talk about it ad nauseum when it concerns Blade Runner, and if you get a chance to check out our Monday show, the Pop Culture Cosmos, where you, the voters out there, decide upon our top 20 all-time and our top 100-ish. I know I said I would stop that after a Monday show, but I didn't. top 100-ish movie countdown that not only one but two Ridley Scott influenced movies are very high up on the list. So I want to hear your thoughts, man, on where you think he should go with his final work after he's done with Raised by Wolves, which looks very good, looks very interesting. Dystopian new world after we couldn't really get it right on Earth, and we kind of messed things up on Earth, so we had to move to a new planet. It's the main lead characters are androids and all that, as far as, with a not exactly cheery attitude and all that, but it's really dark. Has a lot of dark themes from already what I can sense on the trailer, so it looks pretty interesting. But I want to hear your thoughts on after Raised by Wolves, on where Ridley Scott should go with the rest of his active time as a director. I mean, I've got some ideas, but I wanted to hear yours as well.
So I don't know. I would like to see Ridley Scott return to each of his franchises one more time. Give him a chance to. He started Alien. Give him a chance to finish it. Just let him do that last movie after Alien Covenant. I also want to see it round out the trilogy of Blade Runner movies that was planned. I also, and I'm getting greedy here, and I'm sorry for that, but I would like, I always consider his like historical epics to be like their own franchise, even though they're not really related to each other. But he kind of like, if you look at it, he did Gladiator, and then he did Kingdom of Heaven, which was farther up on the timeline, and then he did Robin Hood, which pretty much takes place right after Kingdom of Heaven. I would love for him to do one more historical epic as well. I know that's me being selfish. That's 3 big films that would probably take 15, 20 years to make, so I don't know if he has that time left, but that would be my dream 3 list from Ridley Scott.
I'm going to start off with what you were saying on Blade Runner, and I know we always have a great conversation on Blade Runner. And to see that trilogy, whether it's him in a director's chair or in a producer's role with Denis Villeneuve going back to it after he deals with Dune, I would love to see that trilogy end on a Blade Runner as far as the triumvirate of films is concerned, because Blade Runner 2049 left it open for a third movie in that mix. So you and I have had such a great time watching both movies so far. I would like to see that completed. I know you mentioned Alien, and I know you mentioned the historical epics, and I know how much affinity you have for Kingdom of Heaven. Gladiator, I liked a little bit more than Kingdom of Heaven. And there's been a long rumored sequel for Gladiator, which I'm not sure should happen, but you know what? At this point, let it happen, because we obviously have so many things out there in the works. Why not let it happen? I don't know if Russell Crowe is going to be the same after 20 years, but we've seen he's enjoyed life in that 20 years since the Academy Award winning film has been on the air and in theaters and whatnot. But I'd like to see where that goes, as far as if there really is a passion to get a Gladiator sequel out there. And then last but not least, I want to see him start something new in the sci-fi genre, like he's doing now with Raised by Wolves. If that's going to go anywhere, let's go ahead and build upon that. Or if something new in a sci-fi genre that can really be considered a AAA franchise to build upon. He may not be able to finish it, but at least give him the chance to get it started on one last great iconic sci-fi IP. I'm not sure Raised by Wolves is going to be it, because again, it's a for all intents and purposes, it's still just a limited series on HBO Max. So we'll see what kind of pub and press and excitement it gets. If it becomes the next Game of Thrones, yes, then there it is. But if it's just another series that ends up having another couple season run, et cetera, then I hope he will get the chance to build that blockbuster IP from scratch one more time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would love to see Blade Runner above all else. But yeah, I think about something with like Ridley Scott when he makes a historical epic, like he really makes a historical epic. Like he does the research, he makes sure everything's period correct. Like I think that if he were to do like Gladiator 2, like that would be the movie that finally ends up like making him retire. So I'm more hopeful for an Alien or Blade Runner film, but I would love to see a historical epic.
Well, we will wait and see. Again, Raised by Wolves, his latest project, is coming out on HBO Max as a limited run series on September 3rd. We're looking forward to it. Want to see what he still has as far as the magic and the pixie dust that he can throw onto these series and IPs from there. We've shared our thoughts on Alien. We shared our thoughts on extending the Blade Runner universe, and obviously, like you said, another historical epic. I want to hear your thoughts out there, everyone, on if you think this should be something more when it concerns what the career should lie forward for Ridley Scott. We want to hear what your thoughts on what his future you would like to see him do and him delve into. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And Pop Culture Cosmos, if it's still available, if it's not been shut down yet, on TikTok. But my friend, there's still more to talk about in the upcoming next half hour. On the back end, we're going to be talking about Marvel's Avengers, because it's still in beta, but it's coming out next month. Plus Microsoft's Flight Simulator, something we haven't talked about on this show, but I want to go ahead and give it some prompts because that's also coming out this month. And then our major battle of discussion, In-N-Out versus Whataburger. And a lot of people are actually just dying on pins and needles to hear what I have to say about In-N-Out versus Whataburger. And I know they want to hear your thoughts just as much. Who is better, In-N-Out versus Whataburger? But first, right after the break, it's Jessica Boggs from the TVRatingsGuide.com. She's going to be talking about all the great things going on in the world of television in part 1 of her August TV update, coming up right after the break. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. Again, thank you so much to Jessica Boggs from the TVRatingsGuide.com. You want to go ahead and check out all that she's doing today at the TVRatingsGuide.com, plus her great show, Jessica's Show, which is available on all podcast formats. Remember Josh's show, the Super BS Gamescast. You'll hear that not only on Anchor, but you can also hear it on every other major podcast format, and also selected episodes that he chooses, he throws up there on the Pop Culture Cosmos as well. Plus specific Lakers Fast Break. If you're into the Lakers and the NBA, what's going on in the bubble there, check us out at the Lakers Fast Break channel, or selected episodes will also appear on the Pop Culture Cosmos as well. My friend, a few last topics to talk about before we head on out. Marvel's Avengers. And I know this is something you mentioned on social media as well in regards to your concern over how it looks, how it plays, but some of the exclusivity that is going to be made available to one console. Not only is it timed exclusives, but Square Enix just announced that Marvel's Avengers will have an appearance by Spider-Man as, I believe, a playable character, but only to PlayStation consoles. So I want to hear your thoughts, man, on this. How is it shaping up for you? Are you digging what's going on? Because it's gotten some all over ever since it got announced at E3. You and I have been all over the map on our thoughts on the game, and with the announcements as it's right now in beta that people can go ahead and play, and it's coming out in September, there's been some other issues that popped up. So I want to hear your thoughts on Marvel's Avengers, on where it stands, and if you're still excited to play it come September.
Sorry. Okay. So this is, I don't know. I want to play it, but I'm also I don't really care about it that much, if that makes sense. It's something. It's kind of meh to me. I am interested, but not interested enough to pay $60 for it. It's something that if it were to drop down to 20 on sale on, a holiday sale or something, I would pick it up. And that was really solidified by making Spider-Man a Sony exclusive character. The skins and stuff like that, like I totally get, and that's fine. But I mean, I don't like console exclusives. Like I feel like you're cheating people out of content. You're cheating people. Like say there's people out there, they have an Xbox, they're stoked to play this game. They can't afford to go out and buy a PlayStation 4, or vice versa. If you have a PlayStation 4, you can't afford to buy an Xbox. Like it's a lot of people don't have multiple consoles, and that's why I have an issue with these exclusives. And this felt like by making Spider-Man an exclusive to PlayStation, you're basically, you that was a dumb move to make for a game that a lot of people are on the fence about. Like there's not really a lot of hype surrounding this game. It's a lot of people doing what I'm doing, the whole wait and see thing. So if you're making Spider-Man an exclusive character for PlayStation, it does not feel like a smart move. If it was like Gears or Halo, or if it was I don't even know what big franchises, or Uncharted or something like that. Like I totally get having exclusive characters, but I mean, it doesn't have that kind of fame, and there's not a lot of people who are super excited to play this game. So it's I don't know, it feels like it's kind of a slap in the face to some people. And I'm just not as, I was considering buying it when it released, but no, after this thing, I don't really care so much anymore.
With me, it's the issue of the way it looks, plays, feels, and sounds. And I am not 100% bought in on it yet because of the fact of what it looks, plays, feels, and sounds like. After dealing with the beta here, it quick time events are something that I think it's still very much of a trope that it's caught into. Not liking that. The voice actors, even though they're some of the finest, like an all-star cast from voiceover actors, they're not the actual MCU actors, which I'm having a hard time. My daughter and I had this discussion yesterday, and I'm having a hard time getting over that myself, because I would like to have seen Square Enix spend the money on these voice actors, because gosh, to get them in their own studio, or some of them have their own studios at their houses to do voiceovers. Get them to 2 hours work. There you go. Pay them, and to have that legitimacy of their likenesses, from what I've seen, it just, to me, that builds the game even more, and it's more relatable to consumers. This, to me, it seems like a bigger budgeted version of those movie games you and I were playing in the 90s and 2000s that were just putrid and awful. I mean, it doesn't look that as bad as that, but it seems like it's heading in that direction. I mean, the beta, you get to do some things and whatnot that are interesting, but again, the storyline is not that gripping yet. And the fact that, again, it doesn't have those iconic actors playing in those roles that we've seen from the movies, it's just not drawing me in 100%. Like you said, at a budgetary price, if the ratings are good and I'm seeing what I'm like, and I like what I'm seeing eventually, I could get into it. But at $60, to me, it's a no buy right now.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. Like I had some interest in this game, but now I don't. It goes back to the thing too, where like I know they're talking about doing crossplay for a while, and if Spider-Man is an exclusive character, then you won't be able to play with people who use the character Spider-Man. Like say all your stats are put into Spider-Man, you won't be able to play with your friends because they can't get Spider-Man on Xbox. So it's it was a really dumb move for a game that is probably not going to be that good.
And this is not coming from someone, you have all the consoles like I do, correct?
Yeah, I mean, what was kind of getting me interested about this game was the fact that I could play with friends. Like it didn't matter like if they had PlayStation or Xbox or whatever else. Like I could play with them, because there was a lot of talk about crossplay, and I don't know how that's going to work anymore.
But again, you could go ahead and buy it on PlayStation, but the fact that you just don't want to because it has that exclusivity in there.
Yeah, exactly. And I like Spider-Man. In all honesty, I probably would buy it on PlayStation, but I think that that's kind of a bad way to treat your customers, especially with and I'm still bitter about Crystal Dynamics and the way that they handled the Tomb Raider franchise, especially with that last game. But I mean, I don't really have any goodwill towards them right now.
It goes back to the old days, or actually not too old days, but back in the recent past where it was to the point where you had to go ahead and choose a side because of all the console exclusivities we were seeing, especially at the earlier part of this last, and then also the Xbox 360, PS3 generation, where they each felt they had to go ahead and have several console exclusivity items to go ahead and entice you to one platform or the other.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Call of Duty did that, and I think Borderlands 2 did something. Gearbox was doing stuff like that for some of their games. But to me, like, this is, the developers are going to lose money doing something like that, and it's one thing if it is a Call of Duty, or if it is a Madden or a FIFA or something that a bunch of people are going to play regardless. But with Avengers, this game's gotten a lot of bad publicity, and you're making a console exclusive, so you're really just pushing more and more people away from it. So it just kind of doesn't make sense why they would do this. And I know it's because Sony owns Spider-Man,
Yes.
yada yada, but still, it just don't have him in the game. He doesn't need to be there. He has his own game. It's just you're really
in the end, it's all about dinero, my friend. It's all about the dollars.
And I don't think they're going to make that much.
Well, I know Dan Stevens is out there. Want to thank you for watching. And yeah, I don't know why it's kind of disappointing that there's an exclusive Spider-Man in this game that you can't play if you're an Xbox player, or if it comes to Nintendo Switch at some point down the line, or other platforms, that you can't go ahead and play as Spider-Man, because I know a lot of people would like to have him in that realm of Marvel's Avengers, especially because in the Marvel movies, he's there already with the Avengers. So I cannot agree with you more, Dan, on that, and also Josh as well. So if you have thoughts on the future of what's going on with Marvel's Avengers, we're not hooked on it. We're not bought in yet as far as Marvel's Avengers. There's still a wait and see. So we'll go ahead and try to keep our minds open. But again, for both of us, it looks kind of on the thing that we're going to go ahead and buy it, but only at a major discount or when it goes on sale. Buying it first day doesn't look like an option for us, but we'll keep you up to date on what's going on with Marvel's Avengers here at Game Source and Pop Culture Cosmos. But I want to hear your thoughts out there. If you have thoughts like Dan does and also like Josh does, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanic Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And I don't know. I guess TikTok's still alive, so we're also on TikTok as well. My friend, before we head on out, we want to go ahead and honor a game that we haven't talked about on this show. We might have just mentioned it in passing, but it's a long-standing game that's just been under the radar, but is a PC standard. And the latest edition of it's coming out on the 18th of this month, and that's Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've actually played it in the past. I've had a fun time doing it. Crashed countless times that I don't even talk about right now here on the show, but thank goodness it was a flight simulator. But I want to hear your thoughts, Captain J. Josh Josherson, on Flight Simulator coming up 2020 for PCs everywhere, and your thoughts on the Microsoft Flight Simulator platform and IP, because I think it's been one of those under-radar success stories for Microsoft, something they don't talk about very much, but to be very lauded because of the fact that year in, year out, they keep coming up with great additions and great improvements on this game to make a game that, okay, it's a flight simulator. What could be really compelling about that? They've really turned it into something so much more. But man, Josh, sure needs a lot of discs, doesn't it?
So Flight Simulator, it's 12, 15 discs, some like ridiculous amount of things. I don't understand, like, do you install these discs? Is there really like that much information? Is it an install thing, or do you?
These are graphic intensive. You need a high-end video card in order to maintain a good resolution on it throughout, good frame rate. And frame rate is very much part of the issue when it concerns Microsoft Flight Simulators.
So I have an issue with that. I mean, I'm glad they really like put the time and effort into this thing. But flight, it's weird because Flight Simulator it's a game that, in my experience, a lot of like older gamers enjoy, I guess you could say. Like my grandpa used to love Microsoft Flight Simulator. My dad loves Flight Simulator. It's not something that I've ever been into, though I do know that it has an audience. Hopefully I'm not upsetting anyone by saying that, but I just it feels like it's not something that people who really like put $10,000 into their gaming PC are going to be interested in. So I'm really curious why they went so far with it.
Well, Microsoft, again, this is something that of all the things that they've tried, I mean, from the Zune to how many things that, like Apple, that they've tried over the years and abandoned. Microsoft has had a ton of, whether it's software, computer related, product related, game related, what have you, that they've abandoned over the course of the years. And to see this little engine that could, known as Flight Simulator, come out with new renditions every so often, new updates, and still have an audience. It reminds me a lot of EA Sims and The Sims, how that still has an audience. Like, it's right there. It's always there, and you can always count on it. And with Microsoft, even though Flight Simulators, revenues, and things of that nature, it has to be like a tiny microspec on the overall platform for Microsoft as far as their ledger is concerned, it's still nice to see them focusing on quality, because I've seen early returns on the betas and the what's in development, because people have been able to go ahead and show off what Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 already is going to be looking like, and it's amazing to see. And I'm happy that they're still putting resources into this platform and into this IP, because they could have abandoned it a long time ago.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I don't understand the I guess graphical output, like making the game so graphic heavy, and it just seems like that's going to make it inaccessible. So obviously, if it's something that's 10 discs, I don't know if that's something we would get on Microsoft Games, the Games Pass Ultimate, or where it might go. But I would hope that there's justification for making the game, just because I don't, from what I remember working at Best Buy, and I remember like seeing Microsoft Flight Simulator, 2007, 2008, like, then people did buy those games. They just weren't the people playing Call of Duty and Halo and stuff like that, or people even playing on PC like Warcraft and things like that. So I'm curious to watch the sales and the figures and see the market on this. But if it works out, then hey, I'm glad, because I know there are some people who use Microsoft Flight Simulator to do stuff like train prospective pilots. So I mean, hey, more power to them.
Okay, you can go ahead and say it. You can say it. Guys like me. You can say it. People like me. It's okay. Oh, guys. Okay. You've been beating around the bush on that one. So, okay, you can say it. You can say it.
It's all right. Gerald's going to go play some Galaga after we're done recording here.
Got it right over here next to my arcade one-up. What are your thoughts out there on Microsoft Flight Simulator? I want to go ahead and hear your thoughts as a new edition. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 comes to store shelves with 10, 12 discs, I think. And all in all, it's going to be a big load, a big, just like install for everyone out there. Or if you want to go ahead and download it, it's going to be a lot of memory coming up at you. But it is Flight Simulator 2020 coming August 18th to stores everywhere, and also retail outlets, and of course online as well. So we want to hear your thoughts. Are you still into Flight Simulator after all these years? And what about the series makes it so special to you? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode, but one last thing before we head on out, and that was my recent trip to Texas and the great state that's there, and all the great people that are there. I want to go ahead and give them a big shout out, including you, my friend, who is right smack dab somewhere in the in the state right there for you. As a Texas now representative that you are, you've had a chance, I'm sure, to taste one of the fine cuisines that are there, or at least believed to be one of the fine cuisines, and that is Whataburger, which is well known around that area and the Southwest as the leading contender in the burger area. I'm on the West Coast. I'm living out of Las Vegas, and I actually had my chance on more than one occasion to check out In-N-Out when you get a chance, because the lines are long and they're still going out into the street. And even ever since coronavirus happened, the drive-through has mainly become a way of life for people. It's now even gotten even longer. So what are your thoughts, man, as someone who has lived most of his life in California, is now in Texas, and had his chance to peruse both In-N-Out versus Whataburger, as I myself as now have as well. I know a lot of people on our social media are wanting to know, and on pins and needles, on which do you like better? So I'll hit you up first, my friend, before we head on out. Which one do you like more, In-N-Out or Whataburger?
This is a complicated question. Okay. In-N-Out, In-N-Out has crazy long lines. And when I lived in California, the burgers never tasted that great to me. But out here we have an In-N-Out and we have a ton of Whataburgers, and the burgers out here at In-N-Out for some reason taste better. I don't know what it is. It's probably a mental thing. If you're asking me to pick the two, I think In-N-Out has better burgers, but Whataburger has a better menu. I love that you can order, they have more things to order. You can order chicken, you can order chicken sandwiches, you can order salads. They have so much on their menu, and their stuff, all their food is really good. But if you're asking me specifically just about the burger, In-N-Out has better burgers. But that being said, this answer is complicated. I know I would rather eat at Whataburger than In-N-Out.
Okay. I'm glad you did. Glad you said that. Myself?
Why? I want to hear this. I'm excited. Tell me.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to hold it off any longer. Well, for me, after my taste of Whataburger, I was not impressed. I didn't find Whataburger, their menu, like you said, is impressive, much more detailed. But then again, it's the simplicity of what In-N-Out offers, which is probably why they've had so much success, because it's pretty much cut and dry what you can choose from and what's right there for you. With Whataburger, there is more selection, but we had it and we were just not impressed. Maybe it's just the location that we're at, but it was just something that was not impressive to us. And sorry to say, it was just another burger. I almost want to say forgettable, because in probably about a year, I probably will forget about it, because it just wasn't that great. I've had many better burgers from many local or national chains, and that to me was the disappointing part, because I've heard so much about Whataburger over the years. Oh, you got to try Whataburger. It's better than In-N-Out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not a great fan of In-N-Out either. I think In-N-Out's pretty good, but it's pretty good. Certainly not by any means the best burger I've had. The fries were a little better, but then again, the fries that I've had at other places are better than In-N-Out or Whataburger to me. So overall, In-N-Out wins, but that's just like saying, maybe it's a 7 or 7.5, and Whataburger is like a 5 or 6. So pretty much that's where I stand.
Yeah, and honestly, it depends on what you're comparing. Like, I think that Whataburger is a better place to eat than In-N-Out. But, like I said, I think In-N-Out's burgers are a lot better than Whataburgers. So it depends on what you're comparing and what you want to eat that day. I think that Whataburger is an amazing fast food place. Like, if you have people who want, fried chicken or chicken sandwiches or whatever it might be, then you have people in your family that want a burger or they want shakes and stuff like that. Whataburger facilitates the family arguing better than In-N-Out does.
What are your thoughts out there? We want to hear them, because I know it's been a great debate on our social media, because we've shared our thoughts on it. And I did earlier this week when I stopped in the great state of Texas and had a chance to try Whataburger. So I want to hear your thoughts. In-N-Out versus Whataburger. I know people have, Wendy's and McDonald's and Burger King and Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. And I know Dan Stevens said try when he's in an area in Indianapolis to try Between the Bun. And, I've had a lot of other great suggestions. I know Warren Fernandez popped this line as far as a great place to try in Georgia. So I get that. I know there's a lot of other great places, but when you're talking about In-N-Out versus Whataburger, share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Plus also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos on Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And if it's still alive, if it hasn't been cut off by the government, Pop Culture Cosmos on TikTok as well.
Microsoft's supposed to pick them up. So, I mean, I guess it all depends on, from what I understand, depends on if Microsoft wants, or if TikTok wants to pay the fees to operate in the United States. I guess that's what they're waiting to hear back. So who knows? Who knows? TikTok could be alive or dead next week. We don't know.
Microsoft will buy it with all that revenue they get from Flight Simulator. Well, Josh, we'll go ahead.
I was going to make a joke. You can get TikTok now on 12 CD-ROMs, so get yours today.
Always something good as a zinger on the way out. Well, we truly appreciate everyone listening and watching for today's show. We cannot thank you enough for joining us. Also, as well, Jessica Box with TV Ratings Guide. Here, part 2 of her August TV update on Monday's show, The Pop Culture Cosmos. We'll also be talking about the latest news and trends in pop culture on the Pop Culture Cosmos as well. So hopefully you'll tune in for that, as you do every week right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great